Hi, everyone, and welcome back again. Today, I have a special guest that I actually haven't seen her for ages. And I'm so grateful that she decided yes, I want to join. So I will just let you introduce yourself and we're going to take it from there.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. It's really fun. Yes, I'm Caryn from Fascinate in 7. I am a communications and team engagement specialist. And I basically teach you about your communication language. You know, like the 5 languages of love, there's 7 languages of communication, and all of us fascinate in our own way. And I teach you what that way is that triggers other people to want to listen to you and how you fascinate them. So that's it in a nutshell.
I think it's a super interesting thing because we're not even aware on the impact of that communication thing that got on us on our personal life, business. So
yeah,
how did you get
the fundamental thing, or the major difference with Fascinate and other things, it's an assessment that you do. It's called the Fascinate assessment, and it basically highlights, as I said, your top communication advantages and how it's different to other assessments. Other assessments are psychometric testing, psychology based. This is based on branding and marketing. So the same way that big brands trigger you to want to buy or engage with them, every person has a certain trigger that every time they open their mouth to communicate, they're triggering certain things in people. So it's really about understanding what that is that you do at your highest value. And it comes naturally to you. By the age of 7, you already have those qualities that are established within you. So a lot of people don't realize what they are because it comes so easily to them. You know, it's something that we're born with, so we do it. And when you identify that and you highlight it to them, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, now I know. That's what I did. How can I create more of those moments? Because that's actually where I am at my highest value. So it takes away imposter syndrome. You stop competing with other people and trying to be like others, and you just become more of who you are. So how I stumbled on it, well, I don't know. Divine intervention, Dana, to be honest with you, because I was going through a really dark time in my life, and I'm a self-confessed self-help junkie, which I'll tell everyone. And it was Google. I was busy Googling something to help me. I was in a really bad place in my life, and I came across this assessment. I don't know what words I put in because you can't find it easily, you know. And it arrived, and I took the assessment. I contacted the States. I asked to become an FCA advisor. I'm the only one in South Africa. And I did the training, and I brought the program to SA because no one's done it here ever. So I'm the only one doing it. And it was just divine intervention. I was meant to do what I'm doing now.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, think about what are the odds that you're going to see it and then you're going to do it. And then you decide so where is it coming from, that courage to decide, okay, I'm the only one in South Africa that's going to do it.
Do you know what it was? Because of where I was at in my life, when I got the assessment and they unpacked it for me and actually explained to me what it meant, it made sense as to how I'd gotten to where I'd gotten to. Because based on my personality type and who I am, I was in an environment that wasn't allowing me to be at my full potential. So the profound impact that it made on me when I actually got the results and started working with it, it took me about 6 months before I contacted them to become an advisor, because it took about 6 months for the assessment. You know, that's your benchmark. That's what you get. But once I started applying it and actually started using it, it made such profound changes in my life. And I thought, like, nobody knows this here. They don't know about this. I have to do it. And it was a huge thing. I was still in corporate when I come from a sales and marketing background, but I was actually in project management at the time. I did a project management diploma, and I was working in that environment. And I enjoyed it. But the environment allowing me to work from home for my type of personality type is what actually set me spiraling downwards. So it was through the change that it made in my life that I realized how many other people are sitting in this space where they just don't know what they want. They don't know why they react the way they react. And it was through that I decided to do it. And then the end of 2019, the beginning of 2019, I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm actually, going to try and take this. And let me tell you, it has been a journey of journeys. It has been up and down, good days, bad days, really. Being an entrepreneur is not for sissies.
No, and no one tells you this, right? Because they weren't trying to sell you how amazing it is that you earn your own money and you can wake up whenever you want and take vacation with everyone. It doesn't work like this at all.
I must be honest, I was a little bit worried initially because of the fact that, well, what happened was I got the perfect dream job. And I was allowed to work from home. I've got 3 kids. So, I mean, it would be great, see my clients once a month. But because of my personality type and my communication type, I was very lonely in that position. So being on my own, everyone thinks it's amazing. Some personality types just don't do well by themselves. I like alone time, but I'm not a loner, if you know what I mean. And this opportunity has allowed me to engage with people all the time because that's what I do now. So I'm constantly on Zoom, or I'm seeing people in person if I can. And I'm actually what they call a passion personality. So I connect very much on emotion and warmth. And, that's where I am. I'm the kind of chitty chatty that walks into a room and I can talk to anyone at a networking event. That's me. So imagine that personality being put into a box and saying, well, you're not going to see anyone for 3 weeks of the month. You're literally just doing emails. There's no real interaction. And people think, wow, that's an amazing job. Well, for me, it wasn't. It was terrible.
No, I think I'm more like you as well in my personality. And I remember when I moved to South Africa and, you don't know people. So after office hours, you go home and you're by yourself. So I did felt like what you're talking about, because it's not that fun. And maybe that was for like you say, the universe is interfering. So maybe that was the universe preparing me 3 years ahead to me becoming an entrepreneur and having a business and to learn to be. So now I'm actually sometimes like, shh, like get some quiet. I just but I do. I like you. I love to meeting new people and do it all the time in the Zoom. And that's why I also like this podcast, because I'm getting the chance to meet so many different, empowering women that it's just an inspiration. Because, like for me to look at someone like you and say, deciding at one point to get up and do something because it felt right for you. As for what you're saying, it felt the right thing to you to do. And you just went with it. You were not even thinking too much, I think, probably on, am I going to be the first one to do South Africa? Like how the South African market will accept it or not. So like you didn't have any
didn't even think about it. I was just, and that was also a bit of a shocker because then I had to go and find clients. Now you've got to deal with the fact that I'm newly qualified as an FCA advisor and I know the program is amazing, but how am I at delivery? So my own limiting beliefs, the own things that I put on myself actually prevented me from pursuing as quickly as I could have. So I've had to do a lot of personal growth and a lot of digging deep. And, every level of success, no matter where you start, you have the program, we term it fudge. It's that fear, uncertainty, doubt, guilt, or expectation. There's those 5 things that put you into stress mode. And when you feel stressed, it's like, you think, oh, can I do this? Can I not? It's fear. It's really fear-based. So, and every level, wherever you get to, as the business grows, I started off with one-on-ones, just helping people. I'm now in the corporate space where I'm going into corporates and working with big teams. But to actually get to the point where I got there, it was a lot of work to actually believe that I'm worthy of it and that I'm actually capable of doing this, because you doubt yourself at every turn. Every time it's something, but what about this and what about that? And I think it was even weight. I mean, when you met me, I weighed 23 kilos heavier than I am now. That was depression that created the eating. I had to go back to the triggers. Then I felt I looked like this. Gee, are people going to take me seriously? It was my own sort of, the own stuff that you put in your own head. And I've had to break through all of those barriers in order to get me to where I am now. So, and as I say, there's good days, there's days. Today, I got a brief the other day, and the first thing I did was go into fudge. Oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? Because it's like, oh, I'm going to be standing on it. It's a different platform. I had to do a keynote speech, which was the first one I'd done, and I had to push myself out of my comfort zone. So it's hard. It's not just a financial thing. It's every learning that you're getting along the way that's, making you a better version of yourself. But you've really got to dig deep sometimes to push yourself out there.
I don't actually think you can be entrepreneur if you're not digging deep inside. Because I really see it from the marketing side. That if you want to build yourself as a brand, you really need to get to know yourself. And if you don't know yourself and know how to deal with yourself, there's no way you can be authentic, right? With your message and everything. And it sounds like you were doing such an amazing journey of a lot of growth in it. So what are the tips that you can share that help you during the journey, to not to give up? Because we spoke about before we started it, having a business is like a roller coaster, and the amount of time you want to give up. I said it a few times, the amount of time I wanted to pack my suitcase and say, bye-bye, I'm done. That's it. I'm going to find a corporate job and I don't need this.
It's easy, yeah. Get a corporate job, and especially when you come from sales, you can even work your own hours. So it's not as though you restricted, in a sales environment. I wasn't admin. So there were times when I did think it would be easier, but I think it's the passion, first of all, that I have for my program. I love it. I fell in love with it. I've seen what it's done for me. So that's the first thing. It's having that burning desire to want to make a success because you're really passionate about what you're doing. If you're trying to build a business and it's not based around your passion of what you're doing, it's going to be a struggle even harder because you're not really enjoying it. So it's to find that thing that you really love. The other thing is to be vulnerable, to put yourself out there takes guts. You've got people looking at you. You're always going to have people that are criticizing what you're doing. And it's for you to actually be able to say, it's not about you. It's about the message that I have to deliver. I believe in what I do. And it's to take that. And you know what? I say that. Ask me where my YouTube videos are. I did a series once. I've probably got about 5 of them. I've done a couple of, sort of this kind of thing, but I have not embraced that part of it yet. I'm still fearful of putting myself out there. I'm still fearful of doing the videos. And yeah, that's another barrier that I'm breaking through. Even being here on this podcast, talking about it, it took courage for me to actually say, yes, I want to do it. I come across as confident, but I thought about it and I thought about okay, here we go. There's people listening to me. Is my message important? Are they going to understand? So it's about being vulnerable and allowing yourself to admit the fact that, you are scared sometimes and you're not always going to get things right. And then the third thing is to just make sure that your vision's big enough. Because if you've got a big vision, on those days when you want to quit and you want to go, it's so much easier to do something. If your vision's big enough and you can see what it is that you're trying to, put out there and what your outcomes are of that, then I think it keeps you grounded enough to continue.
So I think the vision part is the why, for everyone to remind themselves to why you do what you do. And I do understand you about the courage, and I will encourage you. Don't worry, I'll kind of volunteer you after to do a live with me on this topic in one of the platforms. Because I know it's so and it's funny that you're saying it because I think no one get it, and that's why it's important for me to share the stories. And I'm glad that you actually saying it, that you do that videos. And for people who don't know you, I look at her now, and you'll see her on camera, and she's all bubbly and smiling, and the energy. There's no way you're not gonna watch a video of hers. Okay, so I'm just letting you know because you're gonna have the sound. I actually have the vision as well in front of me. And the thing is that, you're not the only one. Like I said, when people look at me, it's oh, wow, but you're doing so many lives and so many videos. First, I don't always have the part too. And second part, it took me 2 weeks to get my first video. I recommend you go and watch my first video that I do by myself on my YouTube channel. I'm literally sitting on the couch, bent and disgusting. I'm I wasn't even having that confidence that I have today. And today it's not even the confidence. I actually don't care. I've got something to share and I just want to share it. I want to take it out of my system and share it with you. So I think it's a mindset, and that's what people don't.
Very much so.
We blocking ourselves more than anyone else. And I always have in mind, I'm listening to you and the process you're going through, and then I'm thinking to myself, the guys are also having the same type of stress and point of view as us. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they're overthinkers. Do you think?
Yeah, I still also haven't even done a live. You must know the videos that I've done have been scripted. I've actually written my little script and then I'm at the camera, and if I make a mistake, I go delete and I redo. I have not at this point in my entrepreneurial journey had the courage to do a live on my own platform in any way.
And
how many?
How many years you're already in this journey?
It's 2019, so almost 3 years. I still haven't done it. It's gonna have to be the next
one with me. That's it. If you guys want, just let us know in the comments. By the way, no matter where you watch it, just contact and say, and I'll send you a link to either if it's after the live or before the live.
Though, no matter who is on camera and doing what they're doing, they all started where we are. They all have had the same fears, the same insecurities. And that's why I say the vulnerability part is real. If you can share your story and share that it's okay to feel like that, because we've all gone through it. We all feel that way. And every time you step out of your comfort zone, that's where you grow. But it takes courage to step out of the comfort zone. And that's something that you've just got to be resilient with and just say, go ahead and do it.
If you look at
I'll take on the challenge.
No, I will. But when you look at it, the personalities, as you're saying, from what you do, so will it impact, for example, entrepreneur side? how they do the business, or like, as you say, like the comfort zone side. Because I think for all of us, it's easy to stay in the safe place and to say like, okay, maybe I'm not going to grow much with my business, but I feel comfortable where I am now. And I think that's the difference between those who will push themselves further.
Yeah, I think with the Fascinate program, it really teaches you about your differences rather than your strengths. You know, it's about what makes you uniquely fascinating to others, and nobody can be you. So it's identifying your competitive advantage, and that's yourself. And it's how to create more of that. So what it does for entrepreneurs is it shows them how to differentiate themselves in a marketplace that's already crowded. That's the first thing. But it also gives you the confidence, because even me as a passion personality, I know that I connect with people, but it's pushing myself out there, but other people don't necessarily connect like that. You know, they could be through listening. There's people that are the quiet ones that actually don't speak a lot, and they sit in the background, and when they do open their mouths to talk, it's substantive. You want to hear. That's how they fascinate. You actually want to listen to them, because they don't, you know, if somebody asks a question, my hand's always the first one up. Okay, I'll answer. Let me speak, you know, whereas the quiet ones are the ones that sit there and actually catch the data that we miss as passion personalities. They're the ones that go in and actually can suss things out. And so when you know that you do that naturally, you might know you're a listener. But what the program teaches you is how to leverage that in your business, how to use that skill, how to use that difference to actually create change. And that's why I'm passionate about it, because it allows you to just be you. You don't have to be the passions or the creatives or the, you know, it's just being you at your best. And it also helps you to sort of target to your niche market, because when you know who is triggered by you, who's fascinated by what you do, that's your target audience. Not everybody's going to buy into me. As energetic as that as I am, some people have told me I speak too fast. I've been told I'm too energetic, you know. Yeah. So not everybody, I mean, I've got a business coach that I work quite closely with, and we've got so you've got 7 advantages. We've got all 7 of them in us. We've got all 7, but at our best, we operate in the top 2. But the one that we're dormant in is the one that least energizes us. So mine is detail. If I've got to read through instruction manuals, or I've got to account for every possible thing that can go wrong before I do something. I'm an emotional person, so I make decisions on emotion. I don't think further than that. It's like, you had me at hello, I'm in, you know. But if I'm forced into a situation where I've constantly got to think about what could happen, it would exhaust me. Now that's his top advantage. So he speaks slowly, he's detail oriented, and he tells me, you're too energetic for me. And I'm like, geez, get to the point. You're so boring. But we get on so well because we understand that around one another, and it actually balances us out. You know, it's the diversity that makes it so special. But it's understanding that, and understanding, especially in the program, your what we call double trouble zone. When you're stressed. So as energetic as I am, and as confident as I look, when I get stressed out, I become what's called the drama. Then you want to see me be dramatic and theatrical and sensitive and all the rest. And that's me in my stress zone. So it also highlights to you, when you are stressed out, what happens to your personality and how the way people perceive you. Because then your confidence, all of a sudden, as a power personality, your confident becomes aggressive. Or if you're, excellent and it becomes superiority, that kind of thing. Or if you're a mystique, the listeners, you actually become very closed off and reclusive. You just pull back from everybody else, and people think you're just not interested. You're almost reclusive. And so it teaches you about those triggers as well that you do when you're stressed, and how to manage that so that people are getting the best of you and not the perceived, everyone's got a perception of you. So it teaches you how your personality can actually be turning people off rather than inviting them in.
That's very, very interesting, because, eventually that's what's going to help us, like, in everything in life, right? In everything. That's why they say the language of love and stuff like this, because once you know who you communicate with, it's easier, and it makes your life as well, like in everything, your communication, and especially in your business, because, you're reaching out to the right people, and then there's less frustration from like, why they're not getting what I want? Why are they not getting it? And it's fine, because I always say you cannot be everything to everyone. And that's fine. I learned in time that, yes, I do speak fast like you, and I do have that energy. And certain people say like, oh my God, she is too much to handle. I cannot. And someone's like, oh my God, I love her energy. Like, I'm addicted to this. You could have all of them. It's like, so yeah, I have some. I used to, like, my boyfriend used to say, like, I love to put you on mute, like on that stuff, so that I don't need to hear you when I watch your videos on YouTube. Everyone's good at stuff.
I tell you, even in my family, though, it's quite funny because my kids, when we went into lockdown, obviously, you know, it's as a mom, I decided I'm going to do like schedules for all of them and they need to fit into certain things. And it was absolute anarchy in my house. It just didn't work. So I thought, well, you know what, I do this assessment. Let me assess the kids and actually see. That's one of the YouTube videos that I did. But I actually assessed them and I looked at each one of them. They all operate in different ways. And when I understood that this one needs space to be able to create his own structure, he's a creative person, he's confident, he needs to do that. The other one was detail. He needed to have the details written down. And then also when they stress out, I mean, the videos talk about me walking in as the drama because I'm stressed. I'm sick and tired of cleaning this kitchen and going off, and my son looking at me going like, what is wrong with you? And then realizing actually I'm in that zone at the moment where I'm now being dramatic. You know, it's completely, I need to tone myself down and figure out what's really triggering me that I'm being dramatic. So it really teaches you a lot about how you react and how you behave in situations and how to manage other people as well when they're in that space. It's very, very, very interesting.
So what else?
And we all do it.
No,
nobody gets away from stress. Yeah.
Everyone react differently. Like I know when I have the times that I need to be quiet and close off the system, and so everyone's got their own ways of dealing with this. So what helps you the most? Like when you look at your journey, because you know it's almost 3 years now. What helped you the most? Like because you came from the corporate life, so for those of you who come from corporate, it's not always that easy to do that shift, right? Of like becoming a self-employed like entrepreneurs.
I think what helps me is reflection. I spend a lot of time with meditation, a lot of time sort of tapping into, I don't know, you know, the listeners, if they are spiritual, they'll understand, but tapping into that higher self, you know, to get the guidance. I mean, I'm sitting around me, I'm not kidding. I've got my crystals. Everything I do is to bring in that energy of grounding so that and reflecting on what's worked and what hasn't worked, but also praising myself for the journey that I've come on, you know, and how much I've grown all the time. It's come down to self-love, because the more you love yourself, the more you can love your offer, the more you can love your client. And at the end of the day, when you're serving people, you've got to love yourself first in order to love others and to be able to serve. So it really is congratulating myself and having wins and celebrating the wins and going, geez, well done. Getting on a podcast, you pushed yourself out there again, you know, yes, well done. And actually praising myself for what I'm doing, because that's what fuels me to keep on going. You've got to recognize your achievements. And yes, it's tough. And yes, there are times you mess up and things happen, but you know what? That's the human journey, isn't it? And it's about taking the lessons that you learn from what you're doing and actually just being proud of the fact that you've just continued. So that's what I do. And I don't mind if I mess up, because you know what? Nobody's perfect, but I laugh at myself now. I laugh at the mistakes. I'm like, oh, you know, I've got a little band that I wear on my arm. And when I get that negative thing, I click it and I go, you're doing it again. Get out of your head and get into your heart. It's coming from a heart-centered space, and I think that's when you let your heart lead, your head gets out the way.
I think it's a difficult part to do, right? To separate between your mind to your intuition. Like, how do you know which one is talking now and which one is right, and like which one to follow? But I do like the fact that you're saying about the failure side of it, and you don't even use the word failure. You say like it's a mistake that, okay, it happened, but what's next? Like, what can I learn? And how can I grow from this? Because I think that's the thing. Like, no, there's no business that doesn't have any mistakes or type of failures. There's no such thing.
Exactly.
Even when before Facebook started and everything and all that, I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg, like, he had his failures. Everyone have it, but the thing is that no one actually speaks about. So I'm really glad that you're sharing, and because we all do it. We all tend to have like certain things that, like we say after, like, really? Did I really do this? Like, seriously? What the hell was I thinking? And you look it up and like, so it happened to all of us. And I like it that you said you've got this band thing that you, it's like your reminder to yourself.
Little tricks, you know, it's the little tricks that actually make it, because your brain is wired for negativity bias. It's always scanning to look at what's wrong. That's what happens. It's a safety mechanism. It's how it protects you. So when you know that your brain is doing that, that's why I say it's feeling, it's going, you know, I snap my fingers and I say, what am I thinking about? And then I put my hand here and I say, how do I feel about this? Because when you actually feel it, it feels very different to the story that's running in your head the whole time. And it's taking control of that story and saying it's just a story. It's based on years and years and years of patterns that I've created. How can I just get into that heart space? And that's living in the present moment. Not worrying, you said earlier before we started this, it's thinking about right now, am I doing what I want to do to the best of my ability with everything that I have around me? And it's living in the present. It's stop worrying about the future. If I've got to think about a big talk that I've got coming up and what if this happens and what if that happens, and I'm going to stress myself out so much, you actually just have to say right now, as I've got this, and I trust myself enough to know that it's going to unfold the way it has to. So that's why I try and live in the present moment as well.
Trust the process, which is that one.
You know what? Look at my little foot. I don't know if you can see it. They won't see it, but it says trust on here. I found this on the beach not too long ago, and I wrote the word trust. And it looks like a little foot. And it's honestly what I do. I look at it, and when I start stressing out, just trust the process. Every failure, like we said, I don't like to use failure, but everything is a stepping stone to something bigger and something better, because your biggest success, if you think about the lessons you've learned in your life, it's been from your biggest failures or your biggest mistakes. Those are your biggest lessons. If you don't allow yourself to make those mistakes, how are you going to grow? You have to grow. And the only way you grow is to push out of the comfort zone. And if it fails or makes a mistake, so what? That's how you grow. So that's how I look at it.
I'm saying of Jackie Rollins that's sharing about her story and how many people have said like, no, until someone said yes to Harry Potter. And she say rejection is redirection, which is something that I love and always repeat because it's true. So by even saying a failure or like a mistake or whatsoever, it's just redirecting you in a different direction. You just don't need to be at that specific space or specific time. You just have a different journey. So you just, as you said, like just trust. It's not easy, but trust, and trust is super important. Even when you're building your brand, you want people to trust you.
It comes back to your vision though. If your vision's big enough, you can fight through anything. If you believe in what you're doing and you know what your why is, then you'll push through all of that.
That's amazing. So anything else you want to say, to sum it up, but what's your journey? What's your biggest tip that you want to give someone else that she's now in a place stating should I do it? Should I not?
Do it. Never give up. There's a reason why you were put in this, the thought that you've got or whatever. If it's to take the next step in your business or if it's to create a business, there's a reason it's there. Trust that it's been put in front of you. Trust that whatever you're feeling that you want to do, if you're passionate about it, do it. Do it, because whether it's a job, everything's got its difficulties, everything's got its even your job, you've got to then deal with other issues. So why not deal with the issues within your own business and your own, where you're following your passion, because it's not going to be easy in any step. Even saying going back to the corporate, it'll be easy financially, but what are the things that you're going to give up on that? So you've got money is not everything. So follow that passion and just do it. If you're going to have stress and mistakes and issues along the way, rather be for yourself, because your reward is going to be so much greater in the end.
I agree, and I've got nothing else to say on top of it. It is, you know what? Just do it. Get your dreams to, come to life and not others. Do things for yourself.
And it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to feel all of that. Just know that you can break through that. By loving yourself and just believing in yourself, it'll happen as long as you've got that vision. It comes back to your why again. Make sure that your why is big enough and it'll fuel you through anything.
Yeah, because if you do have a strong why, it's really going to help you. I know that's definitely what helps me, my why. To have this and to have the right supporting group. You do need to have the right supporting group. And I'm not saying only on the financial side, I'm saying mostly actually on the mental side.
People that believe in you and that are supportive of what you are doing. I actually listened to a story earlier by, I know Diane Lindemann, and she actually spoke about that specific thing, about the fact that you get those negative Nancys and you get those doubting, and it's to make sure you've got the right, she says she's got a small, tight, supportive group, and that's all you need, so if you've got that around you when you are having those moments, pick up the phone and phone a friend.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or come into the groups where women, especially women entrepreneurs, because we're emotional, we can actually connect with one another and support one another. Find a group that can actually support you and help you. They're out there, you know, go and look for them, because that's where you need to be when you're feeling down. And you are going to get down. You're not ever going to just be perfect. We all have that up and down, but it's to find the right support structure around you.
Definitely, it is, because you cannot do things for yourself in anything in life. We were not meant to be here as loners, like we people in groups, and I think that's the beauty as well for females, because you won't see guy entrepreneur or like whatever groups. It's all about females. We like to be in a group and part and have that support. So just for those of you listen, you're not by yourself. If you need support, we are here for you. And as you can see, we all have a journey that it's not always that easy, but we're staying here and we're not giving up.
Do you know what's happening though? Women are stepping up. You know, being a female, you can be very masculine in your female energy. It's allowing the female energy to come through, because the female energy is the feeling. That is the intuition. It's that flow of, you know, we're so governed by, especially corporate women that have made it successful in the corporate world. It's very masculine energy, and it's structured, and it's times, and we've got to do this, and we've got to do that. When you go into your own business from an entrepreneurial side and you allow it to flow, it opens up. But that's feminine energy that's coming in. So that's probably why the females have got these groups. And, you know, it's always the women that are, and there's men as well, but a lot more women stepping into their, embracing their feminine goddess, if you want to call it that, because we're female for a reason. You know, we've got that feeling, we've got that intuition. We need to really embrace that and step up. The masculine serves a certain part, and it's fantastic, but you've got to be balanced. And I was very masculine for a very long time. I've had to step into allowing, you know, it's that allowance, and that's what the female energy is all about. It's allowing. It's not structured and, you know, masculine.
So thank you so much for today. Thank you for actually stepping out as well and doing one thing outside of your comfort zone and joining this podcast. So for those who also want to join and do an episode like this, you're more than welcome to message me and join. It wasn't that bad, right?
It was fun, but you make it easy too, hey? It also depends on who you're talking to. So thank you for that.
So thank you, ladies. Well, you're more than welcome also to follow Caryn. Like, we'll get your all your links, and we're gonna put it in the comments. So you are more than welcome to follow, to contact, and ask the questions and learn more about who you are, what's your language. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dana. Thanks, everyone.